guys, it's day 3, and we just got on a track, or just got out of the truck. I just picked up a pretty decent track. We're going to follow it to see what it is. If I run into a bigger track, of course, we'll get on it, but let's look at this one. It's no monster, but it's a track, and after yesterday was seeing absolutely nothing, this is exciting, and this is fresh. This is only about an hour old, so we'll get moving on this, and it shouldn't take long to catch up. We just had a fat little, I think it was a 4-pointer, just kind of walked towards me, and then he was feeding on something, and he turned and went up. I've kind of lost sight of him now. I was trying to get the binoculars out so I could see exactly what he was, but not a big buck. I got on his track. I was kind of following it. He was cutting back and forth through all this balsam and stuff that's in here. Not a big buck. Not something we're shooting, so I just don't see him. There's a bunch of thick stuff back up in there, where he kind of disappeared. But we're gonna sit here for a minute and let him vacate so I don't spook him off. Maybe something bigger be moving around. It's a good sign. Alright, we've been in here trying to figure this mess out. There's tracks everywhere. They spent a lot of time in here. It looks like part of yesterday and into last night. There's a big bed back there, huge bed. A bunch of tracks everywhere. I got tracks. I finally got a big track right there, a really big track right here. And it's finally exiting this area, and it's going that way. It's frozen, so it's from last night. But it's a big track, probably from early this morning anyways, and it's heading that way. And I can tell since it's been a little warm because it's got yellow in it. The fresher tracks today, like you can see mine, they have some tannin stains in them from when you step down on the dead leaves. That one's got tannin stains. They weren't doing that yesterday. Today they're doing it, so this is all really early morning stuff. And it would make sense because they're going to head back that way to bed. There's some smaller tracks in here with him. It looks like he came in, was in here dubbing around. Now he's heading back that way, so I don't know what those other deer were. I'm wondering if I saw more than one deer. The one I saw here was a little fat 4-pointer. And the body that I saw cut, I didn't see the head, I just saw the body cut over. It looked longer and not quite as plump. It wasn't short in the body. So we're going to get on this track and follow. It's going to go through a hell of a mess, I think. Either that or it's going to cut up here and cut the hill. But I'm just going to get on that and go. This mess back here, it looked like the deer wanted to all go that way. But if they did, they circled back because they're not going this way. Anyways, if I could just get on a clean track, would be doing good. So that one there should be. Let's go. Well, I jumped one up back here. I couldn't quite tell what it was. It was down a ways in through the trees. It didn't look like a bad deer. Couldn't tell if it was a buck or a doe though. So I went down, found the tracks and followed them for 100 yards or so just to get an eyeball on the track. And it's a pretty light track, and it turns out there's 2 of them. I think it's the twin fawns that are in here. together, which means Mama's not with them. Which means Mama's with a boy. That's my interpretation here. So we're going to walk back up onto the original track that I was on and keep going on it. It's about 12:45. I was hoping this was going to be a big buck and get down here on a track, but when I first got to it, I'm like, boy, he's pussyfooting it. He's really not digging in very much. And then once I got to a spot where I could really decipher a track other than just a bunch of broken up snow, I could see they were really small. So I followed them down here just to see if I could see them. And they stayed running until about here, where I am now, in these hemlocks. And started walking. Went out into the beach hardwood over here. So 2 little ones, really little ones, probably 100 pounds or less. So we're gonna backtrack. There's a big track back here cutting up in, but it's from yesterday. So I've got those tracks from early this morning up top that I was following. It looked like a buck and a doe anyways. Big track. Thought this might be them. I thought maybe they circled and bedded down in the hemlock behind me, but wasn't to be. So we'll get back up there and get back on that track. Alright guys, we've been following a big track. It just came up the hill here, and then I saw where it was going back down. I was like, what's he just scent checking stuff? Well, I got up here. You can see he bedded down right here. But it's not just a bed, it's a scrape. Now I've been seeing in the last couple of years, I've been seeing a lot of that behavior where the bucks will come up and they'll scrape and then they'll lay down and sleep in it for a while and then they'll leave. Almost like they're waiting for somebody to show up. So there's another one. So I guess we're just going to follow him back down. Go see where he went. It's pretty thick up in here, you can see. It's all thick hemlock and stuff. A lot of good back cover, a lot of blowdowns. So, alright. Well, I'm definitely in the deer, but just nothing with big horns on. Yeah. So that's the 3rd doe I've seen. The bucks were in here yesterday, and they were on a hot doe. I don't know where they are. They could be up in here someplace bedded down, but so far I haven't run into them. Bunch of tracks headed back that way, so could be some bedded behind us too. I've just made my turn for the day, so I can head back out along that ridge that she's on. It's all sunny up there on that ridge, so that's probably why they're laying down. I don't know, there might be something else bedded up there. She didn't blow or freak out, she just kind of walked off. I'll give her a few minutes to get out of the way and then I'll head up there. Good morning. It's day 4 of the 2023 rifle season here in New Hampshire. Alright, we've come over to the lee side of the hill. That other side has got a really strong northwest wind, and it's going to be wrong for me to come around the back side of this mountain where I think most of the deer are. So I've dropped over to the lee side. There's a big bedding area here just ahead of me. This is the one I shot that Pretty Boy 10, the Pearl Harbor Day buck, in 4 or 5 years ago now. So we're going to kind of work through there, and that will take me down to that west side of the mountain, and I believe that's where most of the deer are. I should have a fairly decent wind to work back through. So let's get over there and see if we can bump something up, because I haven't seen a dang thing all day, and there's no fresh tracks on the other side. So let's get over here. Alright guys, it's been a busy day. So, not too long after I talked about going up over top of the ridge to take advantage of the wind, there's another guy hunting here, and he shot a 6-pointer about 400 yards from where I came down off the hill. He said it was heading my direction, but I wouldn't have shot it. But I think it's the same buck that I filmed yesterday morning. He texted me and told me it weighed 147 pounds, had a real tall, high rag. Looked like a 4-pointer, except it had a couple of brow tines, small ones. Anyways, not too long after he shot, I had a really big rack buck go blowing past me about Mach 5 in the brush. So I turned and I followed him, and he turned back up this way. He went up here, and when I got to the top of this hill behind me, he was with a doe, and I just got a glimpse of him taking off. There's no snow, so it's really hard to read a track. They took off and they just ran down here. We're coming down this long hill. They're headed off back in that direction that I gotta go anyways. Got the wind blowing up into our face. The wind's been blowing hard out of the northwest all day. And right now we're facing due west. So the wind's kind of kitty corner on us. But, I mean, it's in our advantage. It's blowing up the mountain. When you come around the other side, it's blowing right in your face. So these side of the mountains, they get the low pressure areas and they cause all this swirling. So sometimes the wind in certain areas will be blowing down the hill when it gets into an area of low pressure, and it starts swirling. And then you get in other areas like this is a huge draw that runs right up in here. The wind's just whipping right up through. So we've got the wind in our advantage anyways. So we're going to continue on. I don't think I'm going to catch him. I don't think she was happy he was bugging her. And she's hauling ass. They're both running as fast as they can. I don't think I can catch them unless they stop up here someplace. But it's about 2:15 right now. So we got about 2 hours or so to try to catch this deer. It's a big 8-point, tall tines, really tall tines. He's not real wide, but he's a tall deer. So we'll see if we can catch him. Well, that ends day 4. Nope, we did not catch up to that buck and doe. They were moving pretty good. They never stopped. They kept zigzagging all over the place. So he's got her someplace. I did jump a small one on the way out, a little doe. She was bedded down on the backside of a knob. So we go home, go to bed, get up, and do it again. We'll see you in the morning. Good morning to day 5. We're in a totally different spot today. Wind's kind of iffy here. It's blowing the wrong way on the bottom. It's blowing the wrong way at the top. So we're just going to have to work with it. As you can see, we're in the big country today. We're in some back country. We muzzleloaded hunters in here. There's quite a bit of deer sign. So we just thought we'd come back and revisit it. There's about 6,000 acres of nothing here, except for moose and deer. So yeah, I got a bad wind. It's blowing my wind right out. So kind of what I expected. So we're just gonna kind of walk out and got going on, and then start cross-cutting the wind. But it's all a bunch of cuts. So we'll get going, get to it, and see what we find. Oh, good sign already. We had to go around a big swamp that's down here. I tried to cross it, and it's pretty deep. So behind me we're following the scrape line right now. Some pretty big scrapes on it, some big tracks in it. So we're just going to kind of follow this trail that they're on, get back in here. No, we're not far from the Class 6 road. I had to go around that swamp. I had to back out to a Class 6 road and go around it. It was just nasty. And now we're in a big cut. And there's a scrape line running the edge of it right on this brake line. So we're just going to follow this down through. We're still hunting. I don't see any real fresh tracks, but we're in sign, so that's a beginning. So let's get in here. Well, we worked through that. We worked through that first cut up here, and not much sign. There's some buck sign in it, but it's from days and days ago. So we've moved into this lower cut. The wind's not right. The wind's kind of blowing kind of in that direction. So we're going to work down here and work our way back through it. And then we're going to cross the brook and head up. Now you'll notice that is not Betsy. And yes, I feel like I'm cheating on her. But this morning when I went to use her, the action didn't want to open up very good. So I threw some oil in it, and it was still pretty stiff, so I'm going to have to look at it when I get home. So we grabbed the Rossi, and I just bought that Rossi this year. It's a 3030 Model 95 that they make, R95. So we're carrying her today. She hasn't got a name yet because she hasn't killed anything. So once she does, she'll get a name. But until then, she will remain nameless. So, and I know some of you are disappointed that's not my old gun, but we'll make do with this for now. Carry's nice, action's nice. It's basically a Model 336, so she hits good, shoots really well, so let's go to it. Alright, we just came out of this cut. You cannot walk in there, it is just so darn loud. Everything's crunchy and frozen. Even the leaves are frozen and loud. Got warmer yesterday. Things started to melt. Sun was out. Then it froze last night. And today it's overcast, so nothing's really thawed out yet. It's about 9:30. So I got to the end of this, and I come right here, and you can see there's a deer bed right here. Some hair in it. There's a track that was from yesterday evening. Heading out. Small deer, small doe right here. Looks like all the yearlings are by themselves, which means the bucks have got the bigger does kind of sequestered right now. And that doesn't lead to a whole lot of sign, because they're holed up in some thicket someplace, not moving much. Alright guys, it's day 6. We just got out of the truck about half hour ago. We had a doe blow at us. They were not supposed to be on the landing. They didn't get the memo. She blew and headed down into the valley here. And then we were getting ready. We were going to circle around them, but all of a sudden another deeper blow hit, and we were figuring it was a buck trailing that doe. He was about 5 minutes behind her. So what we're doing is we're going out and around this whole valley. And we're swinging this valley to get ahead of the deer. There's some deer right down here ahead of us too, so we're in the pocket. They're going to be running around through here all day, so we just got to play it safe. we wanted to get downwind of these deer. And it seems like I'm here with Phil today. And we'll get down in here and hopefully we catch him chasing. So, Phil's prime shooter today. So, let's see if we can get it done on day 6. Here we go. Alright, well, we didn't get our camera out because we just had a deer just pop out of nowhere. And this clown over here shot him. Anyways, so we think we shot him anyways. I'm going to go down and inspect. He's going to lead me, he's going to direct me down, but we're going to give it a minute, calm down. What do you think, Phil? Shh.
Hell yeah. Big or small, if you get excited,
Yeah.
shoot it. That's what it's all about.
So we had a discussion on what he was going to shoot, and he's talking big buck. So we're just going to sit here and let it calm down for a minute. He says he heard him crash. I don't know. I saw him run that way. His tail was down. So, but anyways, we've got a deer on the ground. Hopefully.
I don't think it's the one I wanted.
No, but
I don't care.
it was a deer. We've been hunting for a year and a half now. It's the first time we've had a buck walk in. I could see him coming.
Open sights.
I thought he was.
Lever action, baby.
I thought it was the 6-pointer because he's got, one side's fully developed.
Maybe that.
But
so the little one I have on camera is literally a dagger on one side and 3 on the other.
Yeah, I think that's him.
That's okay.
I think that's what we got.
That's all right.
So, okay, I'm gonna run down here and check this because I don't hear him, so he's not anywhere near us right now. Of course, then again, I could sit here and have another buck come in, but all right. We'll be right back with you. All right, we got a short 60-yard track, and this young man right here has his buck for the year. There it be, laying on the ground. I knew he made a pretty good shot. We see the deer take off with the tail down, and he came out here. He said he heard it crash. I didn't hear it crash because my hearing is not that great. So, anyways, it's on the ground. Funky little, he has 3 points on this side and he's got a wicked blade on the other. You can see his forehead starting to see, he's got stained forehead there, and his tarsals are even stained up. So it's not a 2-year-old. It's not a deer that you would see. That's the exit wound there. It's pretty long. I mean, he's really long. I mean, how tall are you, Phil?
6 foot.
He's 6 foot, and that deer is every bit as long as he is.
Yep.
So it's a pretty good-sized deer. We'd had him on camera through the season. We'd got him on camera down here and whatnot in velvet. So we are familiar with this buck. He was kind of hoping for the big 8-pointer that's in here, but this guy stepped out and his heart was going, and that's what he shot. That's what he wanted.
Sorry, buddy. You made the mistake.
Yeah, he walked in front of Phil with the old 35 Remington. One more time, a lever gun adds to the pile of more deer than any other gun. So, he's got to get to the gutting and everything. But looking at that deer, that's not like a normal deer you guys see on the channel. You know, most of you guys are used to seeing something with bigger antlers, a little bigger body. But actually, I don't know about bigger body. This is about the size as the 10 that I shot last year. So he's going to weigh in probably somewhere around the 150 range. And he's not rutted out much. So he's going to be pretty decent. And whatever you guys do, don't judge on somebody on the size of the rack that the deer has. Because a lot of times these bigger, older bucks will have small racks, especially in these mountainous areas. They just don't have the nutrition to grow these big, giant racks. And that deer there, his pedicles are pretty big, but his antlers are skinny. So last winter was really hard on a lot of these deer, and their antlers kind of stunted. They didn't grow as big as normal up here. So, not making any excuses. He's happy with the deer. I'm happy that he got it. Don't judge people and deer shame them for a deer that doesn't live up to your standards, but it lives up to their standards. And that's all that counts. It's their tag. It's a legal tag. And as long as it's a legal deer, it doesn't matter. So, that said, we got to get to the work. Phil's over there letting everybody know that he's got his very first New Hampshire buck. Very first New Hampshire deer. So,
one of many.
One of many to come with the old 35 Rem. Alright, one thing I want to stress to you guys is if you really have to get a deer, you really want to get a deer, sometimes you've got to go the extra mile and get out away from the road. Now, I know dragging is not any fun. As you can see, Phil's dragging, and there's a buck there. So, he's got to drag this deer out, and it's a three-quarter mile drag to the truck, which doesn't sound like much, except for we're in a cut. And it's all uphill from here. We're down in the bottom near a swamp on the edge of this cut, so it makes it pretty miserable. Then it's a three-quarter of a mile drive out, so we're back in here. No pressure. There's nobody hunting in here. There's no tracks. None in the snow. There's just none in the mud. Just nobody out here. And partially because nobody wants to have to drag it up these hills. Except for Phil.
I will. I don't care. Let's go.
So this is why we hunt these spots, is because they're so miserable, nobody else wants to go in and drag one out. And we hear it all the time. I'm not hunting down in there because I'll have to drag it out. Dragging it out is the least of your worries. Shooting the deer is your biggest and hardest part of this whole game. So go that extra mile. It'll pay off. Won't it, Phil?
Sure will.
All right. Well, we're almost back to the truck. You dragged it up out of a nasty spot. Now we're on the snowmobile trail dragging. Phil, how do you feel?
I'm tired.
Yeah, would you do it again?
Next year. I plan to.
All right. Right back down in the same spot.
Yep.
We've got probably 400 yards to go.
Maybe.
Yeah, close to that. So, yeah. This is the part of deer hunting that's not fun, but it's just all part of it. It's fun it's all fun once you get to the truck.
Yeah.
Then it's all easy, but anybody's had to drag one of these long drags like this, yep, they know what we're talking about. All right, go ahead. Mush. Ain't gonna be no hide on that thing left. What an animal.